There are these micro influencers who are talking about they are traveling, and also the trend is becoming known to everybody. So therefore, even a person sitting in a Philippines is actually asking, I need that design which is very popular in China. So the democratization is the big change which is happening.
But would you rather train somebody who's completely skilled person and knows everything about industry, or you'll pick a talent who has a curiosity mindset and then train them in that particular industry? Because attitude cannot be trained, but the industry trends and other things can be trained.
Female leadership.
Yeah.
I'm against that concept. Leadership is leadership. It is gender neutral.
Hello everyone. Today we have a very special guest, Mr. Aditya Singh. He is head of Jewellery International Business at Titan Company Ltd. With over 22 years of experience in business development and sales operation across diverse segments, both B2B and B2C, and market across India, Europe, GCC, South Africa and Singapore. He is considered as luxury brand guru, and he is working with Tata Group of Operations. The Tata Group operates in more than 100 countries across 6 continents. So let's welcome Mr. Aditya. Thank you so much for accepting my invitation.
Pleasure is all mine.
So let's start with, you have been in this industry for more than 2 decades and you have seen it evolving, like from the very early age to the current and now for the future. How do you see how it has changed and what are the different dynamics?
Oh, so thanks for asking that first question. So a quick correction there. So while I have been in the working life for almost 2 decades, specifically jewelry industry per se, it's been around 12 years now.
Okay.
So out of the 2 decades, 12 years have been, but 12 years have been a long time. And there will be so much, I would say, technology change which is happening across the world. And that technology change is influencing what is happening across. Second thing which is changing during this period is the economic policies at a global level. And what technology does, and this is my personal belief, what primary job of technology is to make things much more accessible, much more democratic.
Yeah.
So what, let's say if we define luxury per se, luxury was always meant to be for the few. There was an exclusivity angle to the luxury.
Yeah.
What today technology has done is made it accessible. Second, what is happening is the global economies much more becoming, so everybody is more like a global citizen now. Less of that, people have much more exposure, whether it is through the TikTok videos or through the internet exposure or through the data becoming more accessible. Even a person sitting in a Bhopal in Madhya Pradesh in India knows what is happening in New Jersey at any given moment. I'm like the Texas floods which was happening. I'm like, people sitting in India are discussing those things.
That's right.
So with that change, what is happening in the industry is people, I think, are becoming more aware of the trends. Earlier, if you go a decade back or even earlier, the trend research as an area was meant for the exclusive few. They used to define, oh, this is going to be the trend which will come in. In today's world, what's happening is, and across segments, whether it is the tourism industry, jewelry industry, or any other form of luxury industry, there are these micro influencers who are talking about they are traveling, and also the trend is becoming known to everybody. So therefore, even a person sitting in a Philippines is actually asking, I need that design which is very popular in China.
Okay.
Or somebody who's, let's say, having a small hotel in Jaipur is trying to create that experience which is possibly available in a Paris.
Yeah.
So the democratization is the big change which is happening. And because of that, what is happening is the brands are becoming conscious that we need to be much more transparent with the customers in terms of what is our offering, what is our value proposition. Because the consumer is more aware.
Yeah.
So that's the big change which I see.
That's right. And as you mentioned, that because the awareness is there and data is available and the concept is more democratized now.
Absolutely.
How do you see the life of a brand or life of an item or a product has changed? Like what was, suppose a product is designed. So in the earlier days, it could last for 1 year, 2 years, maybe 10 years. But now how frequently, like what is the lifetime of it and you have to replace it with a new product?
So that's a very interesting point, because Actually, it differs a lot category to category. Uh, there are certain products, and typically iPhone is a classic example. They keep coming up with a newer version every few year, and they build a new ecosystem around the new launch.
Yeah.
And along with marketing, along with the features available, they kind of make the consumers feel that it is time now to upgrade. Even if you would have purchased the iPhone 15 just a couple of months back, when a 16 get launched, you feel compelled that I have to move. That's one side of the story. uh, the other side is the with the luxury specifically, there is a heritage, there is a tradition associated with it. So there are some pieces, some collections which are for keeps. You want to hand it down from a generation to
Yeah.
generation. And that feeling, I believe, is still resonates very much with the evolved luxury buyer.
Okay.
So when I was saying that the democratization is happening, so more such things are becoming accessible to a larger number of people.
Yeah.
But amongst that larger population, there are still going to be that set who are the classics customers of the luxury
Yeah.
consumption, and they want pieces, they want products across categories,
Yeah.
which they can actually hand down generation by generation. That would be the classic of. And another shift which is happening is, uh, let's say, the experience space is coming much more. Earlier, it was all product related.
Yeah.
Now it is more experience related luxury as well. So product lines are actually getting blurred. If I have, let's say, $1 million today, uh, probably my previous generation others would have invested in, let's say, a piece of jewelry, or a piece of an antique furniture, or a big house,
Yeah.
depending on the location. But today, somebody might actually want to use that money to actually do a cruise tour somewhere.
Yeah.
So the lines between the sectors are getting blurred. In terms of the wallet share, is not within your category between competition. It is actually across industries.
That's right. And I like what you mentioned about it, that the lines between the sectors is getting blurred, and still people are like those who want to pass it on from generation to generation. That's also there. So both the balance is there in this
be there,
society
yeah,
currently.
yeah.
This is so beautiful, and this is so important for all entrepreneurs, irrespective of what product line they are having.
Absolutely. They'll always find customers of both types.
Yeah.
And it's always actually, as a business person, as an entrepreneur, there is always this fine line between which customer segment would you want to focus more on.
Yeah.
Do you want to penetrate your product into masses, or you want to choose a certain specific segment, or you want to cater to both and yet be the same brand?
That's
So
right.
that's always this dilemma which plays out. And I think that's the beauty of the industry, or beauty of the business, that everybody gets to choose which segment do they want to focus on.
Yeah. And you mentioned very important thing. I think all leaders and entrepreneurs should pay attention to this one. That feelings are more important now. How the experience, what is the customer experience? So it's not only about the designing a product. It may look beautiful, but if it's not giving the experience what customer is looking for, it will not add value to them.
In
This
fact,
is so important.
that reminds me of a. So I'm like, when we were bringing Tanishq into this market in the Middle East. Typically in India, for long, Tanishq has been very strong with the purity play, saying you are rest assured that when you are buying from Tanishq, the jewelry and the gold is pure.
Yeah.
When you are buying diamonds, you know what grade of diamond are you getting. You are getting a certificate along with that. But when we came to this market 5 years back, we realized the market plays on pure jewelry. The government policies are so strict here
Yeah.
that nobody dares bring a, let's say, a impure gold. Now, if that was my biggest differentiator in my biggest market, and I'm entering into a new market, and if that play doesn't exist anymore, what play do I carry forward?
That's right. That became like the bottom line actually.
Correct. So
The
that's the
bare
hygiene
minimum
here.
you have to
Yeah.
do.
So then I looked back at saying, okay, besides purity, what was my strong play, and which reminds me of the design differentiation, which reminds me of the customer experience that we were giving.
Yeah.
So we picked up customer experience as our focus area, saying we will bring that customer experience in this market, which does not exist.
That's right.
And we did it in very, very small manners, ranging from inside store, when a customer comes back saying, Jewelry buying, not buying, doesn't matter. Today I have come to drink that same cup of coffee which your office boy makes and serves with such a pleasure.
Wow.
There are so many such customers. They will sometimes just come to sit and talk to that staff
Yeah.
about their own personal life and problem and to have a cup of coffee.
That's wonderful.
Or when you open in a transactional market like Gold Souk, which where like people from all across the world comes and shops, and it's a transaction. You know that this customer is a tourist here, may or may not ever come back. And in that market, you create a 5,000 square feet showroom
Yeah.
to provide an experience which nobody ever will forget. So they might buy some jewelry, do not buy jewelry, doesn't matter. But the experience that they will get in a Tanishq store, they will remember for life. That's our focus.
This is so important. I'm making note of it.
Please.
And you have given like the essence of that entire operation, that feelings are important, customer experience is important. Play a long-term game, not a short-term game, like not hunting but farming. Nurture that relationship, and experience matters the most, irrespective of whether they are buying from us today or not. This is so important. I think this is the point where most entrepreneurs, especially the new entrepreneurs, they miss out to know about it.
Yeah.
This is so important. I love this one. And then you spoke about that how the product lines are getting blurred. And I think these are the opportunities rather than challenges. We can think of, okay, if my industry is not having like things done, what are the other industries I can collaborate and co-create things?
I'll give you a beautiful example from back in Bangalore where my organization Titan. So there was this was I think 4 or 5 years back, or probably even longer back. So there were 4 companies. Titan was one of those. The 4 companies from 4 different sectors. So one was from a coffee industry, one was from a IT industry, was from a machine tools industry. So that at least there is no fear that they are competing against each other.
Yeah.
They 4 came together to create a program for emerging leaders,
Wow.
saying a Titan person can actually go and learn from these other non-competing industries,
Yeah.
saying what are the best practices in that industry which I can try and adopt in my industry. And that's the blurring of lines, saying you
That's
don't
right.
need to confine yourself into your industry alone and keep looking at competitor A, B, or C. You can actually go much beyond, because see the point that you rightly mentioned, as somebody who's starting their business, if you see your market, saying, let's say if somebody is in a taxi business, and if you see, okay, there are these 3 taxi players, either a radio taxi or otherwise, and I have this as a pie, versus when you look at transport sector as a overall, or if you go back to the purpose of why am I coming into this business.
Yeah.
If you are coming here to take a pie of that cake which already exists, somebody bigger will eat you out. But if you are coming to transform that sector, if you are coming in to change the way people are commuting from point A to point B, if that is your why, then you can actually play into a very, very different game. You don't need to look at others as competitors. You can actually look them as alliances.
That's right.
So
And
it's
this
just a
is
way of thinking.
Yeah, and I think a lot of maturity is required for leaders to understand that. Like when I do coaching, I tell my clients, if you're from oil and gas industry, just go and attend some construction event, go and attend some retail event. You will get ideas which nobody in your industry knows currently. You can pick those ideas, implement it, and you will be like, you will stand out because nobody knows about it, nobody has thought about it. So what you said completely makes sense, and I think most people don't do that.
Yeah.
And this could be the best strategy to stand out in a saturated market.
Yeah. I mean, you just change the industry. I mean, you increase the pie of the cake.
That's right. That's right.
In fact, for that reason, I sometimes, specifically, even if I have a requirement in the team for somebody who should know the category very well, I choose and hire from a cross industry. And I always take pride in some of those, because most of such hirings, people coming from absolutely non-industry come in and they bring such beautiful change inside the organization that they end up actually not doing that for just the company but for the industry.
That's right. That's right.
And I do that because 12 years back, somebody at Titan trusted me. Before I was working with Titan, I was actually in the IT industry.
Okay.
And I
Oh,
was in
we
a
are friends now. I'm also from IT.
so I was in a B2B space, but somebody in some leader actually trusted, saying, yes, I can trust this person's experience and he can actually add some value here. And I joined jewelry sector and B2C, and then it's been 12 years. I still feel every single day is a new day.
Yeah. And this is so important. Actually, this was one of my questions you already answered. That would you rather train somebody who's completely skilled person and knows everything about industry, or you will pick a talent who has a curiosity mindset and then train them in that particular industry, because attitude cannot be trained, but the industry trends and other
Absolutely,
things can be
absolutely.
trained.
In fact, it's just such a coincidence that you brought this point. Just yesterday, I was having a review with my people function team, and I made exactly this point, saying if I hire somebody, let's say from a competitor, and that person may have been having a great experience of 5 years, 10 years in that sector with a competitor, I can get a absolute, let's say, ripe person to start. But that person has been working in a very different business environment. The values of that company are different. The
Yeah.
focus of that company is different. My focus are different. So in for this person, I have to make the person unlearn
Yeah.
and then make him learn. Versus if I hire somebody from a non-industry, I just have to make them learn.
That's
So that
right.
there's no unlearning process.
Yeah.
And in the process, I am going to learn as well, because they are going to talk things about how the same process happens in their organization. Because
That's right.
ultimately, if you look, any company, any sector, there is going to be a people function, there's going to be a sales function, there's going to be a marketing function.
Yeah.
So the functions are there in every industry. Can you learn from those and build up on that? That's the key.
That's right. And when I started, like after working 20 plus years in IT industry, when I thought of starting my business in entirely new domain, and
Yeah.
I had zero context because I was working with D people. I never thought that I will leave and
Yeah.
join somewhere. So people called it crazy. And everybody, those who saw it as a weakness, that she doesn't know the HR industry and how
Yeah.
is she going to do, that became my biggest strength,
Yeah.
because I brought entirely different perspective. I brought Six Sigma for leadership. I brought Lean for
Can
leadership.
imagine you being in
So
IT industry, you would have bought so much processes into the
yeah,
system.
that's right. And it became more like no abstract concept. It's only the concrete frameworks are there. You follow
Absolutely.
this for leadership. So sometimes it happens cross industry when it is there. It's always incredible. You recently opened a store in US. How was that experience, and what was the learnings from there?
So actually, not just US, with every country, new country that we are opening, we go through that phase of learning about that country, their market, how it behaves, what are the consumers, what are the likings and dislikes of those consumers. So we do go through a whole. You were just talking about frameworks and processes. So we have set processes for entering into any new country. Now, US was very significant for us. I directly was not anchoring that. I'm like, there was a team which we have deputed in the US market. They did the whole study. I think all kudos to that team, that they were able to pinpoint, figure out the gaps in the market. Uh, US, as everybody knows, has the access to almost like any brand in the world, and it has its own luxury brand sorts in one side. There is also a whole host of startups which are trying out every possible niche in the jewelry space there,
Yeah.
and amongst that, figuring out what is that gap. And for us, I think we were lucky enough to figure out that there are good amount of Indians and good amount of fairly wealthy Indians. I think it's well known fact that Indians are among the wealthiest lot in US. For the second generation, for the third generation people who are there in US, they want to remain connected to India, and that, yeah, they are Americans. I mean,
Yeah.
they are naturalized Americans. So to find that fine balance, they needed a brand which talks modernity, which has the design differentiation,
Yeah.
and yet holds its value of purity and trust true. So we found that good
That's
space in
right.
between, and I think the journey has been nothing but successful. I mean, I think we are now 7 stores strong in US
That's wonderful.
in a short span
Yeah.
of time, and doing wonderfully well, getting a lot of love from the customers.
Yeah. And Titan is a brand that Tata, as a brand, everybody trusts them because they have shown it for hundreds of years that this is what they do. And I think that value is in all businesses what they are doing.
I think it flows from right from the leadership. When somebody joins in the group, and I have been lucky that 2 decades plus I have been working with the group across various companies. Uh, it flows right from the top. The leadership, the way they behave, the values they communicate in every conversation of theirs, and it trickles down to every single person who's working. I'm like, whether you in any of the Tata Group company offices, you go and talk to the cleaner who's cleaning the uh, office, or a shop or a factory, or down to the youngest recruit, or down to, I'm like, actually the funniest thing for me shifting from IT industry to this one, and when I started interacting with people, and I was generally checking with some people, so how many years you have been here? And the most answers I got was, yeah, I think it's been 25 years, 30 years, 35 years
Yeah.
in retail. Unheard of.
Yeah, it's
So,
unheard.
but that's I'm like, so now I'm realizing actually in last couple of years, I saw a lot of retirements happening in Titan. I like that's I've never thought that I'll see retirements happening here. But these were people who were there for the company from the day one of the company in 1985. So now after 30, 35 years of experience, now they are retiring.
That's right. That's a brand like everyone trusts a lot. You work with so many different leaders from across industry within Titan and outside as well, and you would have seen different kind of people. So, what are the three things that separates from moderate leader to an extraordinary leader?
Oh wow, that's an interesting one. Uh, See, I think what happens is, first of all, we must acknowledge that their leadership styles can vary. And I think I did mention in one of my posts recently on LinkedIn
Yeah.
as well, saying, and I have seen within my organization people who are absolute people centric, uh, and have made great success. I have seen people who have been absolutely a taskmaster and have become a great success. So there is no single formula. I think that's a first and foremost point to acknowledge that if some book claims saying this is the only formula to become a great leader, that's wrong.
Yeah.
That's based on that author's experiences, and based on my own experience across industries and 2 decades of experience. The difference between, let's say, a modest leader and a great leader would be that a modest leader is leading with vision, right? And that's a requirement for every leader. Saying, do you have a vision? Are you able to inspire your team to follow the path that you are showing to them?
Yeah.
A great leader would actually also identify that when I am showing them this vision, and when they start marching on this path, there are these thorns, there are these bushes which are going to come on the way. Have I initiated, even before my team knows, to start removing those obstacles on the path? That I think, what you do even before your team knows that these are going to be the challenges, because you have seen this vision, they have not.
Yeah.
You are inspiring them to be part of that vision. So if you have seen this vision, that means you are also aware of what challenges might come in between.
That's right.
Are you so you empower them, you give them the direction, and they start marching on that. But are you creating path for them? Are you clearing the bushes? Are you removing the thorns from the path?
That's right.
So that for me is a big difference between a modest leader and a great leader.
Yeah, that's right. And I think along with the mentoring, the sponsorship, as you mentioned, that we have to clear the path and support them when they need. And sometimes they don't believe in themselves. So we have to tell, yes, you are capable of it.
absolutely.
That sponsorship is required more in leadership than the mentoring.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because I think I'm writing one article about it that for female leaders also, we have done over mentoring and under sponsoring.
Correct.
So I think in leadership, we have to change the narrative now.
So we keep telling, and that's absolutely a bang on point. You keep telling, like, you set up a group of female employees saying, yeah, I'm like, all of you can do it, you can do it. Yeah, but what are you doing about removing the obstacles
Yeah.
which they face day to day basis in
That's
their
right.
work?
Are you creating opportunities for me to show those skills which I have learned like 100 times from my mentoring session?
Correct.
So,
Absolutely.
creating opportunity, believing in them, and speaking when nobody is talking about them in a boardroom, when nobody is supporting,
Absolutely.
telling them, no, she is capable of doing it. So, that is all. I think that is now required. Enough of mentoring now. We need to start
And
sponsoring them.
somewhere, I think this is more my own personal philosophy. I may be completely wrong on this. Specifically, when people start talking about female leadership,
Yeah.
I'm against that concept. Leadership is leadership. It
Yeah.
is gender neutral.
That's right. That's
I'm
right.
like, as soon as you add the suffix saying
Yeah.
female leadership, you are creating that discount saying,
Yeah.
yeah, you have to look at it with some moderation and all
That's
that.
right.
Why?
Agree.
I'm
100%
like,
agree with
I
you.
remember I recently met this a lady from the industry, and we were having a pure professional, let's say, catch up on, because she was starting, she has left her own organization and starting a new organization. So in that context, for when we were meeting, she has been in the mining industry, gemstone mining industry, for last I think 15 20 years. He says sometimes when I go in Africa or South Latin America, in the mines, probably I am the single female there across some hundred or thousands of males across hierarchy. And then the matter of the fact is, the basic hygiene and all, having a washroom in that place is
Yeah.
not there.
Yeah.
uh, so what are we talking about? I'm like, you can keep inspiring, or if you're not creating the basic infrastructure in place,
That's right.
how would you really motivate? But we
Yeah.
need such leaders to be highlighted, as you're saying, the sponsorship. If there is a great success story, and last year, for example, Titan was having this leadership conference back in Bangalore, and one of our guests was Indra Nooyi, and she was talking about the point, I think the same point, saying, I'm not a female leader, I'm a leader.
Yeah.
And she was extremely proud of this, and rightfully so. And that was her message to everybody. Again, not just to a female leadership,
That's
but to
right.
everybody in
To
Titan,
everyone.
saying, in your own roles, stop looking at people with that lens of saying she's a
Yeah.
female leader or male leader or what.
That's right. And I want to add to that from the other side of the table. Being a female, and when I see other female professionals and entrepreneurs and leaders also, when we demand the equal pay, and I always say, and female don't like me saying this thing, is that
Yeah.
when we demand equal pay, we need to do equal work. If I'm demanding equal pay, I cannot say, okay, I'm not feeling well today, I'll go, I'm a female, I'll not work after 7 o'clock. You have chosen that industry, that role.
Correct.
Whatever comes with that, you have to take it. I worked with one of the companies, and they had a big hall and the sitting arrangement was there. So some of the female employees, they said, we will not sit in the center, we need the corner. Why? If you have
Okay, that's
chosen this
strange.
role, this is not an excuse, right?
Yeah,
Okay, having a separate washroom is understandable.
Yeah, yeah.
But having a separate, because you want to keep a mirror. Now,
Yeah,
that's not the industry requirement. So that's why many female professions don't like when I say that if you demand one thing, the second thing comes as a package. You cannot
Yeah,
have
yeah,
half of
that's
the
the
thing in
truth.
that. Yeah, that's always there.
But I think entire industry, not just any particular sector, everybody needs that sensitization. And our managing director, I think one point of time we were having this discussion around creating opportunities. And one of the colleagues, he mentioned that, how long do I keep waiting for? Because you are asking us to increase the ratio of female team members.
Yeah.
How long do I keep waiting for finding the right person? Because I'm not getting.
Yeah.
And that role has been vacant for, let's say, X weeks. He said, if you find hard enough, you will find.
Yes.
Are you hand to your heart? Are you really putting in that effort to find the right candidate?
That's right.
So it's like, I'm like, if I really have a framework in mind that this is the kind of person I want. I'm like, then you make the system work around that.
That's right. And especially sometimes you don't get the completely cooked person, they know everything. You have to find the right attitude and build that skills which
Absolutely.
is required. I think that's
You'll
where some
always
people
get that.
hesitate.
I'm like, find the 80% right and move on.
Yeah.
Because the speed is also equally important.
That's right. That's right. And we become perfect by doing things, not just by waiting. So for roles also, I think if you get the right attitude, hire them and train them for that thing. That's right. I'm interested to, like, because you have 2 decades of experience. So I'm very curious to know about what is your biggest failure, which helped you to learn the biggest lesson in life.
Probably, actually, first time somebody asked me that question. And I go back to, so I was working with Tata Teleservices back in India. And this was the period when we launched Docomo in the country. And I was part of the team that actually transformed India from a per minute billing to per second billing.
Okay.
So before that period, I'm like, if you use the phone for 61 seconds,
Yeah.
you'll be charged for 2 minutes. So so that period was wonderful. We were setting some things up. I think I left from there quite quickly because what happened is Docomo became partner. We launched all these services, and I seemed to. So after the initial project phase, I seemed to like getting bored. And so there was a manager who I was working with, and I went back to the COO and the president of the division. I told him I don't want to work with this manager. I said, "What happened?" I mean, his question. He said, "See, as an individual, he's a great human being, but I don't get positive vibes." Now it's difficult to explain. Now, a lot of people laugh it off as today, for example, oh, it's a Gen Z thing. All kind of funny memes and all are there. But I think if you feel, it's important that you actually put your point across. And I don't get positive vibes is a very personal thing. I may not get a positive vibe from
Yeah.
you, but somebody else might, everybody else might, and I am not getting. Is the issue with you or with me? So I went to him. I explained my situation. He actually changed my role. And I worked in that new role for probably another 6 months, and I left the organization. That I would say, I don't know whether it's a failure per se, but uh, in the essence, sometimes in the hindsight, I feel that probably I should have given more time. I should have taken more time to understand that person.
Yeah.
And that's been my biggest learning as well, because I take time to, let's say, understand all the colleagues that I'm working with, uh, or let's say even outside my work circle, my acquaintances and all. It is one thing that you meet somebody in a professional environment. It is another thing when you get to know them personally.
Yeah.
Your attitude working with them will absolutely change when you get to know those people a little better.
That's right.
So, as a leader, I think it becomes extremely important that when you have a team, not just just one level, but n minus one, n minus two, as much as you can. You should get to know people personally.
That's right.
Even today, I'm like, so for example, now when we hire team members, and now we have a fairly large team here in Middle East as well. Sometimes some people do ask, I'm like, why do you get to like, do you have so much time that you want to interview every single person that is getting hired, even a shop floor level staff? I said, I just need to know them a little better. So sometimes it is not the interview. Interview would have been finished by the hiring manager, the people function leader and all.
Yeah.
I just want to meet them for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes to get to know them personally. So that next time when I go and meet them on the shop floor, and if I ask somebody saying, how's your mom doing because she's alone in Bangalore,
Yeah.
that person will remember that piece.
That's right.
But for me, it is important that I know that there is certain challenges that somebody is going through. So today, if somebody in the office is sad, they may not be sad because the work is not happening. They may be sad because there might be a personal problem back home.
Yeah.
I may not be able to do anything about that personal problem, but I can be a little more sensitive about that day's mood swings or whatever it might be.
This is so beautiful. I loved it actually. I simply loved it. And this reminded me of a story which I read about JRD Tata, that he knew every single employee's, I think 4,000 employees were there that time, every single employee's first name, their spouse name, and how many children's they were having, what parents are doing, every single person. And we talk about how difficult it is. And he knew, he was such a busy person,
Yeah,
still
yeah.
he knew everyone.
It's just about the intent, I guess.
Yeah. And I talk about this thing in sales training mostly, that you need to know everything about your customer. What are their hobbies? Do they like football or cricket?
Absolutely.
How many kids they have? What their kids like to do? Because make sure you remember what is important for them and then do
So
things.
true. So
I
true.
think,
I'm glad that you are doing as part of your
yeah.
sales
So
training
I
on
tell, like,
this.
I know all my customers. What is their favorite food? What they like to do? They don't know that I know about
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
How? What if their
That's
kid
the
is?
smartness of the person.
So the first thing I do is that when I meet them, I ask them, okay, so how was your son's football match last time when we met in you? And we talk at entirely different level actually when we start conversation with that. And it's so nice to know that you are doing it. And my next question was about your leadership style, but I think with this conversation, I already got that answer.
No, I think I try to keep it very simple. At least to my N-1 level, I
Yeah,
trust them completely that they are in that role because they know their role. And
that's
that's how
right.
they've been hired. And hiring is not just about me hiring them or me liking them personally, but it's a professional set of panel which would have hired them for that role.
Yeah,
So I have to trust that they know their role.
that's
I
right.
am there if I can help them do it better. That's it.
And you know,
So
one thing I have seen, especially when we finish our training program or anything, and the certificate is given. Now that piece of paper is not important, but come the CEO coming or the CXO coming and they handshake, they take photo and take certificate. That one moment is so important.
true.
So as you were speaking, that you go and ask, how is your mom? She was unwell. That moment is the team is built. You know, I never take a team building assignment. The reason is that I tell team is not built in the park running around taking brick from one end to other end. Team is built what you mentioned that when somebody did not come yesterday, you go and you ask them what happened yesterday, you did not come. Are you okay? Rather than writing in HRMS that you did not come and your leave is not approved and creating a big fuss around it. So that moment, that 1 second is team is built when you show your care towards them.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and you're doing it. It's lovely. I was
That's
so
how it
happy.
rolls, right?
And
Yeah.
especially leader at your level, when they remember things and they ask something, that makes entirely a different level of connection with the company, not only with you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, it leaves lot of good memories with me as well.
yeah,
Uh, so, for example, Tanishq has two format of stores. So we have company owned, company operated stores. We have franchisee or the partner managed stores also. The biggest delight is when a staff from a partner store is leaving for a better opportunity, and they sometimes reach out saying, "Can I have 5 minutes of yours?" or stuff like that. Okay, fine. Let's meet and discuss. What do you want to do? And maybe initially apprehension is they might want to talk about salary or whatever challenges at work. But they want to come and tell, listen, I have got this opportunity and so organization, and I have chosen that because of this. But I wanted to tell you that I'm like, uh, if in future, if there is an opportunity, I would want to come back because I loved this organization. And most of those people, I send them with good regards, with a proper farewell, saying, go, keep the flag of the brand high there. Because now when you are going, you will always be a Tanishq's ambassador in that organization.
that's right.
And today, when I like, and this is a classic example again, a few days back, I had posted about we are looking or we're doing a drive for sales hiring. One of the first comments was from one of the employees who had left,
Yeah,
saying, this is a great place to work. Anybody gets an opportunity, please do apply and join. And they actually tagged a couple of their friends.
yeah.
But I think
This
it's
is
ultimately the
wonderful.
relationships which
That's
matter.
right. That's right. And leadership has incredible role to play in that building that brand. Brand is not only about a logo or
No,
how
it's not. Yeah,
advertisement. It's about how you touch heart of people. So this is so beautiful. Like I work with DP World for 12 years. And every time I see DP World post, I'm so happy, or anybody I meet from DP World. So I can feel that one. This is, I
in
think,
fact, I yesterday evening I was having a dinner with somebody who I met after almost, I guess, 22 years. He was the person who I used to work with in my first organization. And incidentally, he was also the one who hired me from the campus. So, and then later we became colleagues, and he happened to be in Dubai, and we met. I mean, the tight hug which we had. And he's actually he started working when I was not even born. So there's a huge age difference.
Yeah.
But the feeling, that connection which remains from the previous, because you have given your heart and soul in
That's
that role.
right.
So when you move on, you don't burn those bridges.
Yeah.
You don't leave that connections. And I'm super happy that I'm like in most of the organizations where I work with, all the colleagues I'm still in touch with.
That's right.
So it's like your school, it's like your college.
Yeah.
So where, because you have also learned during that phase. So
This is so beautiful. It's like a masterclass of leadership. We had such a lovely conversation. If you could give one message for our audience, and our audience are like entrepreneurs and the business leaders. So if you could give one message for them.
I think, and probably purely my experience and what I practice, uh, own whatever you are doing. So I'm like, if you have chosen a certain path, if you have chosen that you will drive this program, just own it. Don't put it on that I was told to do this.
Yeah.
That was the stage when you were taking the decision.
Yeah.
But once you have signed up for the decision, it is your program. Now for your team, you cannot go back and say, I was told that you have to run with this. You have to own it at that stage. You have to inspire your team to sign up for this. And therefore, what is very, very important to remember is not how will you do it, but before that, why are you doing this? That why is more important than how.
Yeah.
How teams are there, they are capable enough, they'll handle. But why are we doing this is most important.
Beautiful, lovely. I love this conversation. Thank you so much.
It's been my pleasure talking to you.
I hope you enjoyed this conversation. I'm 100% sure you would have, because I loved it so much. Please share with your friends and subscribe for more such conversation on business and leadership. Thank you.